Hey y'all, thanks for watching. So tonight I want to go ahead and do a follow-up on the Virginia state legislation gun control law video that I did about 3 weeks ago. Um, Not that anybody's asking me to, seeing as how none of the things that have been going on works in the favor of all the fear mongers and hate mongers and people who were calling for civil war. I mean, it's only been 3 weeks, so what's happened? Well, when we talked about it before in the comments of my last video, I promised that I would wait until the special session happened, and I waited to see what legislation was actually proposed and what was voted upon. And four pieces were passed. The expanded definition of assault firearms wasn't passed. This suppression of the size of magazine sizes, or being able to sell or trade magazines of over that carried over 10 rounds or more. None of that stuff was in there. None of stuff on the suppressors. None of that stuff made it through the House Judiciary Committee. So the four pieces that did were, number one, require that all firearm sales require a background check. I don't see the problem with that. I know that that's effectively going to stop most people from being able to do citizen-to-citizen sales. But you know what? Too many people have acted irresponsibly. I'm sure that, it may not even make it all the way through their House to the Senate, much less be passed to be signed into law by their governor. But I think that stopping citizen-to-citizen sales will help to keep firearms ultimately out of the hands of criminals. I know many people disagree because they feel like they should be able to do whatever the hell they want. But the fact of the matter is, too many people have acted irresponsible for too long. And just because the Second Amendment says that the rights of the people to bear arms shouldn't be infringed upon, does not give everybody in the country the right to have a gun. Or else pedophiles and rapists and murderers would all have guns too, guys. Why aren't you out rallying for those dudes, right? No, don't infringe our rights to have guns. Well, let's use a little common sense then. Number two is allow law enforcement to temporarily remove firearms from individuals who have been deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. It means people are accused of threatening to commit suicide, threatening to harm other people, people who've been Baker acted, people who beat up their spouses, and until they go before a judge, their firearms will probably be temporarily taken away until a judge can deem whether or not it's a good reason and that they should be allowed to have them back. I think that's reasonable, especially seeing as how too many states still haven't enacted firearm legislation, not including on the federal level, but just state level, to stop domestic abusers from being able to obtain firearms. Again, it's already a bad situation. I'm not a proponent of adding firearms that aren't there to already bad situations. I don't think it's a band-aid for it, and I don't think it has ever worked out to be a positive. Not in my recollection anyways. The fourth one is to let locations decide whether or not they're going to ban firearms from their events. And that's not just like concerts or football games, but Walmart, Waffle House, etc. I know a lot of people get butthurt about this, but guess what? When I'm eating an Egg McMuffin and having a coffee in the morning with my kids at McDonald's, I don't want to see some jackass walking around with an AR-15. It doesn't make me feel safe. It makes me feel like there's some moron who thinks it's acceptable to walk around with a killing machine while little children are trying to eat their breakfast. Again, I don't feel safe. I feel safer knowing that I lived in a state that has concealed carry and that most folks who aren't felons conceal carry. Hopefully, many of them are trained. Many of them go out to the range. I mean, when I go to the range, it's fairly dead. And there's two, one on either side of my county, basically, which is disheartening for as many people as I see on Facebook all the time, especially in my town here, that are always showing videos of them with their guns or out shooting in the backyard or showing videos of other people with guns or just showing pictures of guns that they want to get. But again, I never see them at the range. Um, so automatically, the NRA came out with a statement saying that the new measures will make it harder for law-abiding Virginians to protect themselves while doing nothing to stop criminals. Again, anything that is perceived to slow down the gun industry, and this goes for all big industry, anything that stops their profit, even a fraction of a percent, is unacceptable to them. It doesn't matter that it may be for the best interest of their buyers. It doesn't matter to them. They'd rather have dead customers than lose profit. So I don't know how that works out, but apparently it's been working because people keep doing it. Now, all this being said, I know there are people out there who think that, again, their rights to own firearms shouldn't be infringed upon for any reason, blah, 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 blah. And again, I'm not advocating that anybody's rights be infringed upon, but what I'm saying is that there has to be more accountability. Our laws, our government are there to work for us. There's supposed to be laws and rules that we as the people have placed in. And again, with having state constitutions on top of the U.S. Constitution, these things are amendable. That's why we had prohibition of alcohol back in the 20s, and then we amended that to where we could sell alcohol again. It's not permanent. It's not written in stone, and it's not meant to be. It's meant to be what's best for all of us at the time. Now again, never advocated that take away all guns. What I'm saying is that we need to be more reasonable about the guns that we do have and who has them and how we determine who should be allowed to have them. Again, don't understand why people want to have weapons of war, but if you want to have them, if you're going to say it's for sporting, whatever, beyond this whole I'm fighting off a tyrannical government narrative, if you're doing it because you're a sports enthusiast, get this thing to zoom back in here, hopefully. But there we go. If you're one of these people, why wouldn't you just register your weapon? I know that people are going to say, well, registration is the first step in confiscation. Again, we have to stop this idea that the government is bigger than all of us. It's not. The powers that they have are given to them by us. Again, we keep talking like they're going to take away something. The idea that the police were ever going to come and do door-to-door confiscation of firearms is preposterous. There are so many people with this narrative. You better send them out with a body bag, either for the person who has the gun or the person that's coming to take the gun from them. Again, threatening to murder people is not helping your cause to allow you to have a weapon that is effectively only for murdering people. So, again, let's be reasonable about these things. If we want a better life for ourselves in the present and going into the future, not just for our future generations, but for ourselves, because many of us plan on living for more than the next 20 years, for more than the next 1 year. So, just for our sakes alone, let's start making better decisions and being more reasonable and more open to the idea of change. Not all change is bad. I'm sure we could all agree to that. Anyways, I was about to say that's my opinion, but my opinion's not over yet. All this being said, apparently Governor Northam has today's preemptively made a state of emergency for the coming up Martin Luther King Jr. weekend in Virginia. At the state capitol, they were supposed to have some rallies with some pro Second Amendment advocates. I don't know what it is, some kind of rally. They were saying the media is calling militias and this and that. Whoever you people are, The ones of you that have been making the threatening comments online, who have been using the negative rhetoric that have caused the police to advise the governor to do this, please stop. Please stay home. You're not wanted. You're not wanted. Not wanted in this narrative on either side. The people who lawfully want to have their firearms, who possess firearms and want to keep them, do not want people coming out automatically threatening to kill everybody and spouting hate and fear to their fellow citizens. Nobody wants that. So just stop it. Stay home. Nobody wants to hear it. You want to come out and advocate for your Second Amendment rights? Then do so. But leave the hate and the fear-mongering at home. Anyways, that's my opinion, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you have anything you want to say about it, drop a comment below. I hope you liked it. Remember to share, subscribe. If you hated it, guys, y'all know the deal. Subscribe, hit the notification bell right there, and come back and hate me again tomorrow. Thanks.